They sell you the story young. Movies, songs, sermons, culture. Marriage is painted as the final prize, the safe haven, the guarantee of love and loyalty forever. But here's the cruel truth. Marriage is not safety. It's not forever. It's the most dangerous gamble a man can make. And most men walk into it blind. You're told marriage is about love. History tells another story. It was always about property, bloodlines, alliances. Love was never the foundation. The fairy tale is modern, fragile, deceptive, and men cling to it like gospel. You think vows secure her loyalty. You think the ring protects you. But the ring doesn't secure her. It secures the system, and the system is not built for you. Look at the numbers. Divorce rates near half. Courts strip men of homes, fortunes, children. Men who thought they were safe walk away gutted and humiliated. Did they marry monsters? Number. They married humans. But humans change. Laws shift. Illusions collapse. The man who enters marriage thinking he's untouchable is like a soldier stepping into battle believing no bullets can reach him. He will be the first to fall. Here's the truth no one tells you. Marriage doesn't solve problems of love, desire, or power. It magnifies them. It raises the stakes, and when the collapse comes, men are the ones who pay. Marriage isn't bad. It isn't good. It's a crucible, a test, a gamble that can forge you or destroy you. The cruel truth. If you walk into it blind, thinking you've won, you've already lost. Modern men talk about marriage as if it's always been about love, soulmates, and happily ever after. But that fantasy is younger than the light bulb. For most of history, marriage was never about romance. It was about survival. Look back. Ancient tribes, empires, kingdoms, marriage was a contract between families, not lovers. A woman was exchanged for land, cattle, alliances, or security. A man married not because he was in love, but because he needed heirs, workers, or to strengthen bloodlines. The vows were not about passion. They were about property. In medieval Europe, kings and nobles arranged marriages like business deals. A daughter wasn't a bride, she was leverage. In Asia, dynasties were built and destroyed on marital contracts. In Africa, bride price wasn't just tradition, it was economic exchange. Everywhere you look, the pattern is the same. Marriage was survival, power, property. Love? That was an afterthought, if it appeared at all. Even the church, which sanctified marriage, did so less to celebrate passion and more to control inheritance, morality, and legitimacy. Marriage wasn't a romantic covenant. It was social regulation. Here's the sting most men don't grasp. The modern story of marry for love is barely 2 centuries old, born in the Romantic era, when poets and writers began to glorify passion. Before that, men didn't marry for butterflies. They married to secure lineage and survive in a brutal world. So why does this matter? Because men today walk into marriage thinking they're entering a sacred sanctuary of eternal love. But they're walking into an institution never designed for that. Marriage was never built to protect your heart. It was built to protect your bloodline, your property, your tribe. That's why divorce wasn't an option for most of history. Not because people were happier, but because marriage was a lock, not a choice. The cruel truth is this. What men today call the dream of love is layered over an ancient structure of survival. The institution hasn't changed as much as you think. Only the story has. And when the story collides with reality, Men are shocked to discover they weren't marrying a fantasy. They were stepping into a contract older and harsher than they imagined. Marriage was never designed for happiness. It was designed for survival. And survival doesn't care about your feelings. For thousands of years, marriage was survival, brutal, transactional, and non-negotiable. But something happened in the last century. The contract mutated. On the surface, marriage today looks like liberation, romantic choice, personal freedom, equality. Men think they're entering into a bond of love, not duty. But beneath the surface, the structure changed in ways that most men never studied, never questioned, never saw. The biggest shift? Law. For most of history, marriage was nearly unbreakable. Divorce was rare, scandalous, even illegal. Now, divorce is not only common, it's incentivized. No-fault divorce laws mean anyone can walk away, no explanation required, and the legal system decides how to carve up everything you built. The second shift? Custody. In the past, children belonged to the father, literally. In most societies, paternal authority was unquestioned. Today, custody battles overwhelmingly favor women, with men often reduced to visitors in their children's lives. Fathers discover too late that the bond they thought marriage guaranteed can be severed by a courtroom in minutes. The third shift? Economics. Marriage used to consolidate resources. Today, it often redistributes them. Divorce settlements, alimony, child support. Men walk in thinking partnership and walk out realizing they signed up for a financial noose. And the fourth shift is cultural. For centuries, women married because survival demanded it. A woman without a husband faced poverty, shame, even death. But in the modern world, women don't need marriage to survive. Education, careers, welfare systems, birth control, all give women options they never had before. Yet men still approach marriage as if they are indispensable, as if the ancient script remains intact. It doesn't. Here's the cruel irony. Men still walk into marriage believing they are offering women security, but in reality, it's women who hold the legal, cultural, and social leverage. The contract changed. The power shifted. But men, blinded by the fairy tale, didn't read the fine print. And that's why the fall hits harder now than ever before. Because when the collapse comes, and it often does, men discover they weren't entering a sanctuary. They were signing a deal written in invisible ink, where every clause works against them. The cruel truth? The contract changed, but men didn't notice. Men think love is the anchor, that once vows are spoken and rings exchanged, passion will be preserved like a pressed flower between pages. They imagine marriage as a museum where desire is stored safely behind glass, untouchable by time. But desire doesn't obey vows. Desire obeys biology. The truth is brutal. What you feel at the altar is not what you'll feel 10 years later. What she feels on the honeymoon is not what she'll feel after the children, the bills, the routines. Love may endure in one form, but passion mutates, attraction shifts, and men who walk into marriage thinking this intensity will last forever are walking straight into heartbreak. Biology is indifferent to your paperwork. The dopamine rush of novelty fades. The thrill of pursuit dissolves into routine. The very structure of marriage, stability, familiarity, predictability, is the enemy of erotic desire. She once craved your mystery, but marriage makes you familiar. She once longed for your pursuit, but now you're present every day. What once thrilled her now feels normal. And in the realm of desire, Normal is death. Men cling to love as if it guarantees lust. But countless husbands discover the sting. The woman who once couldn't keep her hands off them now turns away, uninterested, distracted, distant. They think something's wrong with her. But the truth is simpler. The mask has slipped. Passion and permanence are enemies, and marriage forces them into the same cage. And here's the sting. Women feel it too. They wrestle with fading desire, with the suffocation of routine, with the slow erosion of passion. But culture trains them to demand spark endlessly, and to blame men when it fades. This is why so many marriages collapse not in hatred, but in indifference, not in betrayal, but in boredom. The vows remain, but the fire is gone. And when the fire dies, respect often follows. Love may be real, but desire is ruthless. It follows laws older than civilization. Men who don't see this believe marriage is a lockbox for passion. Men who do see it understand marriage is a battlefield where desire must be constantly earned, not assumed. The cruel truth? The mask of love doesn't hide the decay of passion forever. Eventually, the mask cracks, and when it does, most men realize too late that the love they trusted cannot survive the hunger that biology demands. This is where the fairy tale shatters. The man who believed marriage was safety wakes up in a courtroom, stripped of his home, his money, his children. The man who thought vows guaranteed desire watches as passion withers into cold silence. The man who believed love would protect him learns that love, without leverage, cannot stop the machinery of the system. And collapse is not abstract, it is brutal. Look at the numbers. Divorce rates hover between 40 to 50% in many nations. Studies show women initiate divorce the vast majority of the time. Some estimates say nearly 70%. And when they do, the courts overwhelmingly favor them in custody, alimony, and division of assets. Translation? Men lose, again and again. The house you worked for? Gone. Half your paycheck. Redirected. Your children? Seen only on weekends, if that. This isn't exaggeration. It's reality for millions. The man who walked into marriage thinking he gained security walks out realizing he signed away leverage. History echoes the same story. Kings undone not by their enemies, but by their wives. Samson blinded. Mark Antony undone. Henry VIII rewriting the laws of England because his marriages destroyed him. The faces change, the empires shift, but the collapse repeats. And in our time, it's even more devastating because culture refuses to acknowledge men's pain. Divorce shatters women too, but their suffering is spoken about, supported, validated. Men's suffering is mocked. He's told to man up, to stop whining, to take the hit in silence. The cruelest part? Most men never saw it coming. They thought betrayal would look like hatred. Instead, it looked like apathy. They thought collapse would feel like a single, catastrophic blow. Instead, it felt like a slow bleed, years of dull indifference, before the knife finally twisted. The blind man doesn't collapse because marriage is evil. He collapses because he walked into it, believing it was safety. He believed the story. He believed the mask. He believed the lie. And when the lie shattered, it wasn't just the marriage that died. It was him. His pride, his resources, his legacy. The cruel truth is this. What men don't see coming isn't love ending. It's everything ending with it. Men think marriage will fix them, that it will give them purpose, stability, and identity. They walk in incomplete, hoping marriage will complete them. But that's why they break. Marriage doesn't complete you. It exposes you. Every weakness you hide will be dragged into the light. Every insecurity you bury will be tested daily. Every illusion you cling to will be torn away. If you are needy, marriage magnifies it. If you lack discipline, marriage exposes it. If you avoid responsibility, marriage confronts it relentlessly. This is why so many men collapse inside marriage, not because the institution is inherently evil, but because they entered it blind, weak, and unformed. They expected it to save them. Instead, it revealed them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's the truth men refuse to face. They don't control her choices, her feelings, or the shifting laws of the system. They only control their frame, their composure, their mastery. Marriage is not a guarantee. It is a crucible. Fire doesn't create gold. It reveals it. The same fire that purifies also destroys, depending on what enters it. So the question isn't, will marriage make me happy? The question is, am I strong enough to withstand what marriage will expose in me? Because here's the sting. Marriage won't give you respect if you haven't earned it. It won't give you authority if you don't already carry it. It won't give you stability if you lack discipline. Men collapse when they enter weak, believing marriage will make them strong. Men endure when they enter strong, knowing marriage will test that strength. The cruel truth: marriage doesn't make you a man. It proves whether you already are one. Now you see it. Marriage is not the fairy tale you were sold. It is not the safe harbor, the guaranteed forever, the completion of your story. Marriage is a crucible, and crucibles do not comfort. They burn. Most men enter blind. They believe the lie, that love secures loyalty, that vows guarantee desire, that the ring protects them from loss. They walk in weak, untested, unformed, and the crucible crushes them. Divorce courts strip them. Boredom suffocates them. Desire abandons them. Their pride, their wealth, their children, all scattered in the ashes. For those men, marriage becomes chains, a prison disguised as a promise. But there is another path. The rare man sees marriage for what it is, not a sanctuary, but a test. He does not lean on it to save him. He does not enter hoping it will fix him. He enters as a man already forged, disciplined, grounded, whole. And when the fire rises, he is not consumed. He is hardened, refined, sharpened. Because marriage does not invent strength. It reveals it. It does not invent weakness. It exposes it. The choice is stark. Enter blind, and marriage will break you. Enter weak, and marriage will chain you. Enter awake, and marriage may forge you into something greater. But you cannot skip the fire. You cannot bypass the crucible. The cruel truth is this: marriage will never be what you imagine. It will always be harder, harsher, and more demanding than you expect. And men who enter believing in fairy tales will collapse under the weight of reality. The ring is not a shield. It is a mirror. It will show you exactly who you are. So ask yourself, are you ready for that reflection? Or will you run from it, only to be destroyed by it? Because the truth is no longer hidden. Marriage will either break you into chains or forge you into steel. The fire is coming. Which man will you be when it arrives? Like, share, subscribe.